Tawazani Khanya Lesedi, greetings over the diaspora. To those that don't speak the languages that we speak, thank you so much for being so patient. Everything ran so far behind schedule today. But thank you so much to those who will be joining us and those who will be catching up a bit later on. It is the World Mental Health Day today. Kita World, yes, it is across the world that we are taking note of today. And we know in media and all of that, it's been not a buzzword, but a buzzword for quite a while. So we'll be waiting for our guest today, Khethekile. They're still wrapping up the poetry session from Instagram. So thank you for those who also managed to catch the yoga. And yeah, we're gonna also touch base on this book that was also covered in reference to our mental health month. So shout out also to Prime Cut Creative, who are basically curating this whole series. Yeah, Sacred Sunday. So we're hopping on the last event that we had was the Winter Solstice, which was super, super amazing, where we met our amazing author, Ukoleleni Charlotte, who wrote this amazing book here. And yes, our yoga instructor, our yogi, yes, I got to be called Yogi Gogi, but we're going to get into the nitty gritties and all of that. But I hope you guys had a great one today. You know, I think a lot of people have noted Uguti. Today was rather challenging, you know. And yeah, we'll cover this when we're speaking on communities and all of that. But Kat is here as well. The soul perspective. Yeah, let me not call it by names that you guys can't call it with. But Njobugazi, are you here? Okay, you are here.
I am.
Okay, no, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. Welcome and well done. Thank you for the yoga. And I think we will post the rest of the yoga because we only did about 13 minutes of the yoga. It was scheduled for 30 minutes, but yeah, we thought, you know, it will be a little teaser. So it's going to be the whole session is going to be available for those on the membership program. But yeah, you've seen the works that she does because I think we did make it available our last Anpu meditation and yoga session that we had with you, my queen. But we just want to get to know you better today in the healing space that we have here. Welcome to those who've just joined now. Please, as you enter, please give us a like there. But yes, as I was saying that we have all Khethekile, the soul perspective. Today, a very dear friend of mine who also, you know, I roll with magic. So it was quite live after live. That's what's up. What's up, Kundi, on the membership program. We see you, girl. But yes, I'm also in the color green, and it's very interesting the season in that we're in, where a lot of things are commemorated. Yeah. So we have obviously my favorite one, which is Pride Month in South Africa, and then with our Asa season, I think my overjoy and my celebration started way too early. So I usually get into the midst of things in the Heteru season, but it's been so amazing from the fast Janut ending off that fast, going into the Asa season. What also is this month? I think that there's and then there's the mental health month, and it is represented by the color green. So we're actually chuckling with a friend of mine yesterday, City. You know, these people, they know our things, Tina. It's just so unfortunate that we don't know our own things, you know. So it is the color. So maybe it's not even a coincidence. Oh yes, it was Miss Hills. I was having a conversation with Miss Hills yesterday regarding the color green and the color asa and the mental health. And I think another thing that's commemorated is the I think breast cancer was this month. Hey, this Gregorian month. But anyway, without getting into everything, like I said, we ran just a little bit behind, so we'll try to keep it short. We hopefully by 8 will be done. But you know, if it's delicious, we go on and on and on and on, like Erica
Hey, I'm
Badu.
gonna try to also tone it down because I know with you we go on and on and on.
Yeah, no, it's kind of that. Yeah, we have guests. But thank you so much to those who've just gotten here. But my queen, I think it would be fitting for you to tell us who you are, what is it that we do. So we're going to be touching on yoga, on the art space, on the poetry space, spoken word space, and yeah, and mental health in its totality. So thank you so much for joining us, my queen. Alternative healers up in here. That's what's up.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me to your live. This is like a first one for me. So, I like one where I'm actually just, the guest at this point. But okay, so my name is Khethekile Nokwandan Sonso in full. By I like going by the soul practice perspective. So perspective is a new addition, but it's been coming for a long time. So for me, I am on a journey. I'm basically a wanderer who is interested mostly in self healing, self knowledge, understanding how I think, why I think the way I think, why I see the world the way I see the world, why I've made choices in my life the way I've made the choices. So I'm very much a reader, someone who wants to understand how things work, why they work the way they do. I'm very much more a person who's very more for justice. I feel like I need to see both sides of everything that I encounter or every situation, even people, no matter how either traumatic or how jovial it is. I always want to see both perspectives of it, trying to understand clearly what's going on, how it happened, and all. In terms of a creative, I do almost everything on my side. I write poetry. I've been writing poetry for years though, but I've never really shared publicly. It's only been over the years when I've just been sharing little bits here and there. I've also done photography for years. Ever since the smartphone came through and it had a camera, I was on it because I've also been someone who sketches, draws, paints. I sew. I cook. I love cooking. I do not like cleaning. I will admit that. I love cooking and doing all of that. It's very therapeutic for me. Um, and I just love moving my body as well. I love dancing. I love doing yoga. I love exercising. And I just love also having very deep conversations about things that normally would put someone off or make a person very uncomfortable sometimes. Even myself, that I would become uncomfortable in speaking about that. But I love having those type of conversations. They are very fulfilling, I feel, very cathartic. And it allows the other person to also express themselves in a way that they would never really express themselves. So I love listening to those type of stories. I write those type of stories myself, and that's the kind of poetry that I also engage with. Poetry that dives very deep, that's very emotionally unpacking things. So yeah, in a nutshell, who is searching on every level to just express self, basically.
No,
Yeah.
100%,
And
hundred
it was a
percent.
long intro.
Thank you so much for that. I thought you were gonna share the name that you still unwilling to share with us, but yeah, she's got very powerful names, Khethekile, Nokwanda, and I think our very first encounter, she saw that yeah, this one is so weird, and the first time we managed to actually have lunch together, because yeah, we used to be at the plantain together, and she's just, oh, you forgot to add that you're a masseuse as well. She knows the pressure
Oh yeah.
points and all of that. So me getting into yoga was us getting to the plantain day at like just before 6 a.m, just before partial o'clock. And she managed to get me to control my body in different ways, with that practice. And I think the one time I noted, Le, you had a coloring book. Hey,
Yeah.
Thokozani,
Oh yeah.
Thokozani.
That's another outlet I have, where I, because of the sketching history that I have, I now went into doodling and coloring as well. So a new avenue. I'm very excited about it as well.
Well, yeah, it's 3 years ago. Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
I saw it, and then you like, I'm like, oh, this girl, she's so weird. It's so nice. Because also I gravitated a lot towards more Eastern mysticism and Eastern way of life. I'd wear bindis and all of that, and
Yes.
I found, and then I think you found. Oh, she watches a whole lot of Bollywood. Yeah, so I think there was a common thread amongst us. But I think I also got a chance to also see into your soul because you're very expressive a lot in terms of music as well, which is also, we're going to delve a little bit into that in terms of the healing space or the mental health space, since today it is the actual day where we commemorate it. So maybe can you tell us, how did yoga find you? How did spoken word find you? Because you rendered, I know you say you don't do public things, but you rendered a piece on that online radio, Ya Lerato. You rendered
Mhm.
a piece called Kledo Muta Village, didn't you? Even though you're still the
Yes.
one taking the footage. Yeah, so how did spoken word find you? How did yoga find you? Especially coming from the township, these are not things that
Oh
we
yeah.
do. Yeah, and how do you manage to get somebody onomzimba like myself to get into nice positions? What is yoga about? Can you explain to us botaki? Even though into too, but yeah, I guess asiphilisanga yaphiliswa abanye abantu. Makhosi.
It happens. It happens sometimes, but we always come back home, no maganjan.
No worries.
So for me, how yoga found me, I actually have always been interested in yoga because of my history of loving Bollywood and loving Indian history and loving all of that. I came across that aspect of yoga and I was very intrigued by it, but I was always self conscious like, how am I actually going to do this? I was not, because initially my thought was that yoga was an Indian thing. Not saying that it's not, but I realize now that it's African, descent where it actually went out into other, countries as well. So for me, yoga basically came at a time when I was a health nut in a sense, where I was so obsessed with losing weight. I wasn't really caring for myself or loving myself the way I know I should have been at the time. So yoga came when I was going already in the direction of not being okay, but I wasn't very much aware of it. So I was doing a whole lot of things, moving around a lot. And yoga kind of just said, hey, are you not interested in getting to know me a bit more here? So when I started, I actually bought a that was, self-teaching yoga, which was sun salutation and the moon rituals yoga. So I did that initially in the beginning. And the more I did that, the more at ease and calm I became. Had never felt like that before. And then I became just obsessed by it. I couldn't do anything else. I even stopped going to gym because I was like, I need to do this more. I love how it makes me feel, how it makes me go deeper than I normally would, and how it makes me cry. I loved the fact that it made me cry whenever I came onto the mat because it made me see that there's something that you are blocking within yourself.
Mm,
There's something that you're not paying attention to. And I'm glad that you're here, regardless of how much you move, but I'm glad that you're here. So I found it very welcoming. And ever since then, I was like, you know what, this is love for me. I found my kismet, I would say. So I was like, I'm in for life here. And then with poetry, poetry found me way before yoga. So I was still in high school when I started writing poetry. And at that time, I didn't even know it was poetry. What I understood was that I had emotions that I was not able to express because I was a very introverted child. growing up. I couldn't express myself the way every other child would. I disliked noise even from a young age because I felt like
Next.
I've been shouted at. So from since then, I had that notion that, man, noise is not a good thing. But I realized that it wasn't actually the noise; it was the noise within myself that wasn't being heard. So an English teacher that I had, Mr. Maongetso, was like, he was basically the English teacher, but he had a very interesting way of teaching where he was inviting kids. Kids abaselokishini, they never normally get a teacher who expands their way of thinking in terms of how you can learn something. And for me, that teacher, Mr. Maongetso, was the one teacher who was like, let's be creative about how we learn English. We can't just learn English in a linear way to say, you're going to read a textbook, I'm going to teach you in the chalkboard. You guys are going to engage with the content of what I'm teaching. So for me, that was my first time experiencing someone who was teaching in that manner, this, English. I didn't know I was doing poetry until he started a section of like poetry teachings. And that's when I understood that all these things I'm expressing, the words that I'm choosing, because as much as I was introverted, I was an avid reader. So I was just, my friends were books. Any book I could find. I started off with Mills and Boone. I'm not going to lie. But Daniel Steele, I started off there.
My
But
mother's
then
friend.
when I, you know, so after that, I was introduced to more books because he saw how we were all just, sponges. We wanted to know more. We wanted to engage with everything that we could get our hands on in terms of a book. And he decided to start a poetry club in school. It was the first one in our school. It was never there before, and we were in. And mind you, we were the science class, so it was
Oh wow.
very fascinating that science students were all in on a poetic class. So we were basically leading it in the school.
I love
So
it.
we were so from there, that's when I actually understood that the feelings that I was writing down, the type of words that I was using to kind of create this picture, because I had a picture in my head. I was like, you know what, this is fascinating. I didn't know I can utilize words like this. And then when I started to share that, which was like the first weirdest experience that I did to share with my classmates, I was surprised when they said that this is actually good. Because for me, I was not intending to do poetry for critiquing, like, yeah, it's good, it's bad. I was I'm sharing my heart, how I'm feeling about a certain event that's happened in my life, but I can't put into straight words. I had
Hmm.
to put it in creative words so that I create a picture whenever you're reading this or if you're hearing it. So for me, poetry started in high school. Literally understanding that it's poetry. It started in high school, but I was always writing I have so many notebooks. Like I keep all my notebooks.
And in terms of
I have
music,
so
because
many.
you listen to very interesting music as well. We
Ah,
have a Fridays, yeah. So she was the designated everything on Fridays at work, but like the playlist, we'd have maybe themed situations. So do you think Orly music also maybe enhanced that? Are you a lyric versus beat person? Because yeah, I think for me, for the longest, I was always beat before lyrics first, but now I'm actually seeing that the music is in the words themselves, and not saying how the beat is not important, of course. That's
mhm.
that's my primary vibe. But the words behind a certain song, we can say what songs are sort of poems as well. Hey, so
Yeah.
did you use music as a healing tool as well, or is it just
Very much. Very
yeah?
much. I use it as one of my tools because, like I said, I was very introverted. So the moment I learned that there were headsets that go with the phone, I was in them. I
In your
I
own
was
world?
not I was in my own world. I loved how music made me feel, how it made me, very understand basically the confusion that was there. So in terms of if I was a beats or a lyrics person before, I was definitely a beats person because I was writing poetry. So I would be seeking out beats because I was like, this poem would go well with this sound. But of course I never really got into that until now, where I'm actually putting together, editing some of my pieces with music. So I'm loving that whole journey right now. But I was definitely more chasing the beat first.
Yeah.
But then growing up, we used to listen to a lot of radio stations, and you had music that you can sing, like, those notebooks also in high school. I started to getting into that because the type of feeling I got when I listened to the music. So
Yeah.
if I was listening to R&B, I was feeling a lot of love, coming, emanating from those words. So I started to listen to the lyrics. But even then, it wasn't like now. It was very different. So then it was more from a child who was interested in understanding what is this love thing that people are so obsessed about, because people are just so
Yeah, I
obsessed
feel
about
that one
love.
distorts a lot of the concept of love, though. But
Yeah.
very interesting. Now that I'm seeing Nons here, Mkulu, actually they're having a musical. It's actually a very musical weekend. This one. Speaking
Mhm.
of Yona, this weekend. So lead back to the city is actually, I think, this weekend. Ne? Speaking of rhyming and beats and all of that. But yes, welcome to those who've just joined us now. There's a giggle there on your Danielle Steele. And Nkululeko Mehlo, hey, Godes. Okay, Pindi, we read her comments already. But we want to get into those who've just joined us. We are running a series. Our next guest is in the comment section. We're also going to tackle it from that point, especially the
Mhm.
Toyota space, Makosi space that we're in. We're gonna go in that angle. So this is a series by Prime Cut Creatives. It's a part of our Sacred Sundays that we started at the winter solstice. So we are just focusing on mental health for this coming month here. And today we are speaking spoken word in terms of poetry. We had Q earlier on, go Instagram live with our goddess here, and yeah, we will go into the book a bit more as well. But I think we should have an episode with her since she's already
Yeah.
de-virginized. But yeah, so we're speaking mental health. And my queen, I want to ask you, for when you did touch
Mhm.
a little bit on it, Hore, yoga found you at a point where you felt, okay, my the piece of a person, I'm not my
Yeah.
whole as self. So what is mental health to you? What does it mean, Hakele, mentally healthy? Does that affect my physical self as well? How does an unhealthy mental state manifest itself? And what is mental health for you? Before that, I love how she found yoga. That's Rory. Hi, Rory. I love how she found yoga when she was not okay, but okay. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, I hope you remember, but Song Lang that I'm all over. I
Yeah,
ask a
I
lot of
know. I know. Yeah, I
yeah.
do. So for me, mental health for me is being present, being aware of myself, my shortcomings, my celebrating myself in a positive way, accepting myself in all that I am, and also seeing and thinking in a way that allows me to be very progressive and not to digress, to be very confident. So I feel like mental health does affect every aspect of yourself, of the self. It does
Yeah.
affect the physical, it does affect also the spiritual, because how you think up here, it affects everything, because the feeling that you get, it's just a compounding factor. It's a movement of a moving energy, where else the thought process that you have is the one that builds everything. So when we're not okay up here, it's not good. You need
Yeah.
to reassess. You need to step back from life and really reassess how you came to that point where you are feeling like you are, what's this term? Man, someone used it and I loved it. Um, so you're basically a stranger in your own world. It's very, for me it's intriguing, and at the same time it's very scary, where you find yourself that you're an imposter. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, where you're like, you go on, you go through all of these things, and then you find like, oh my God, why did I do something like that? And you are not really getting to the root cause of this thought process. So I feel
Yeah.
like it does affect every aspect of ourselves. Even the confident self is affected. You end up, closing yourself off. You end up, wilting, in a sense, if I were to describe it that way. Like a plant would just wilt because they're not being watered, they're not getting the sun, they're not getting the type of nutrients in their roots that they need to actually grow. So I feel like that's what mental health issues or destructiveness does. It makes a
Yeah.
person wilt. Yeah.
Why do you feel we we show up better for people? Because I know at the office you were everybody's shrink, from from a relationship problems to a at home to, oh my gosh, I want to resign right now. So what do you think? Yeah, well, speaking from an empath point of view, what do you think we show up for other people, but we never show up for ourselves? Where like because I think if we consistently pouring out, most people, we never pour back into ourselves. And I think it's my favorite thing about myself now. Hore, okay, now
Oh,
I,
and network.
okay, I think it was on my end. Are you back?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I got the gist of what you were saying. So I feel like that is like, even speaking from experience, it's that element of wanting to be needed, because it always, everything that a person does, it comes back to the self. So anything that you are giving out, it's something that is from within you. So if you're giving out, negativity, it's something that's within you as well. So for me, I find that when I initially started doing that, I would see something that I recognize as something that I've worked through, because there are situations where you've worked through something, but then when you come into a different space, you're surprised that, oh, this thing that I worked through is also here, but it's now in another person. And there's a part of me that I am, essentially am, I like helping. It's my thing. I just like helping. It's not because I want you to like me. Even if you don't like me, I'm cool with it. I love you better if you don't like me when I helped you, because at least you're expressing your true self, you know? So for me, I realized that I just wanted to help because no one helped me. I had to figure it out. And sometimes,
Mm.
of course, that does come across differently to different people, like I'm imposing, I'm just, not minding my own business. I've learned over the years, of course, through experience, where that, okay, I should mind my business here. This person will eventually see it because it's none of my business. So, but
No,
it's
I've
something that
seen
I've
that
learned.
you've created,
Hmm.
I think, healthy boundaries in terms of that. You even allow, like, if somebody decides, okay, they don't want to speak to you anymore, you've always given that thing out. No, let me allow this person. Sometimes we're connecting for a certain thing, and then once that's out, so I think
Hmm.
you've helped me elevate to that point as well. Where detach yourself from expectation. And I think earlier, younger me, maybe a natural for people was probably like a people pleasing thing that I would probably do. But I think now I've grown into self. Okay, no, I can differentiate. Okay, people pleasing here, or am I really holding space for somebody? Which is yeah, I'm happy with my growth so far. And the next question I want to ask you, what do you think are the misconceptions we have, especially in the Black community, with regards to mental health issues? I think as a country, Nali trauma, there's a lot of things that need to happen. Re hloka therapy, re hloka ho geziwa, re hloka imikhosi, silahle imikhonto. Like there's a lot. And
Mhm.
because things can also reside in the DNA, but I think what's a convo will have Haribua about parenting the gifted child, because there's kids who are born. Okay, I'll make an example. There's a kid who's born, how old by now? But we're not born ka apartheid, but they experience something in spirit, like they were there already. So I do know the trauma rona, as much as we're joking about it, oh my gosh, we need therapy. But yeah, progress. You see it in how we parenting, you see it in how we were parented, you seeing in how Lokshin also is. Oh yeah, please remind me. I want to touch on your teachers there towards the end. Yeah, please remind
Okay.
me.
All right.
Yeah. So what do
So
you think are the misconceptions that we encounter as Black people?
I feel like the first for me was thinking that it's not going to happen to me. I think that's the first thing. That's the first misconception, is that this thing that's happening to everyone, it will never happen to me. Where else it can, when you are not aware of those signs that give off, in terms of how you say things, how you feel, how you think about things, how you address situations, how you encounter people, how you respond to people, how you even react to the most tiniest of things. Because when you are self-aware from a point of understanding that everything that happens, it comes and goes. When you're not in that space where you're always focused on why is this thing not happening the way it needs to, that's where you should be. That's the red flag, basically. That's where it kind of peaks in. But we never notice these things because we always think that mental health issues, it affects people abafunda kakhulu, it affects people who have money. Yeah, not even people who literally are like abafunda kakhulu. They will literally
Oh
say
no,
someone who studies.
actually, it's not a mental
Yeah,
health
so
thing.
abantu ababhemisa will be told ukuthi "Ah, laba bayahlanya, ilama drive up." But it happens even to a young child who hasn't been, who doesn't understand how to describe the feelings that they are getting. Big emotions, kids have big emotions that they can't quantify and they can't explain because they were never given tools on how to express that. So
Mm.
that's where another thing is not noted, is that we were never really given tools. Even our parents were never really given tools on how to express themselves in terms of what they don't like, what they do like, what is hurting them mentally, emotionally. None of that was ever, a priority. Our parents, for me, what I realized is that they were on surviving. I needed to survive. They needed to survive their parents. And then when
And the
we now come
system.
into the and the system on top of that, and now when we are literally born in a very beautiful age where everything is within our grasp, even if we feel like it's too much, but it's in within our grasp. Even then we are still experiencing the same thing. I would even say that we are having like the same experience as our parents. It's just that it's in a different era, because everything is within our grasp. This is why we are now starting to have these breakdowns, because we're so much consuming everything that comes through. And the fantastic thing about an artist is they create from within, they don't consume. Artists create from within, they
Marcos.
don't consume. And this is
Marcos.
why someone who consumes would look at an artist and be like, that person is crazy. But the artist is not crazy because the artist is expressing themselves, their genuineness. But then someone who continuously
Mm,
consumes other people's perception of what life is, this is how you are now mis misconnecting or disconnecting your own thought process, because that's what mental health issues. You are taking what someone else says and making it a mind map in your
mm,
own mind,
mm,
saying that what Mukhadi says is true, what I think is not.
mm.
And this is where the mental issue then becomes. And as you mentioned, ukuhlala elokishini is very challenging. Like, it's challenging when you are experiencing this type of questioning of self, because there is no one who's going to come to you and say, oh, let me try to unpack this for you, let me try to show you how this is why it happened. For me, I know that I've always been by myself. I've even if my parents were there, I've always been by myself, because I could see from an early age that I do not understand them, they don't understand me. I will come back to them. But let me just try to assess myself. And then the moment I realized that ilokishi linjani, that's when I was like, oh, okay, now I understand the choices
That
that
is
I've made.
why we have a Wednesday
Yeah.
feature called Kasi the Concentration Camp, because I think we don't
You know?
understand the effects, a lot of effects thereof, you know. But when I want us to go into another very sensitive one, but please just answer it
Mhm.
remotely. Don't answer it to compromise yourself in certain things. But I want to know because obviously, if Hodale, like a big campaign, hey Biggs, Togoza Lapo, Togoza back to you. But in the corporate space, right? So there's certain things. Leona, my this a pride month that I was talking about, Horeke, like there's the corporate identity behind it, you know, and with mental health as well, you know, the campaigns that I run and whatnot. At times I feel for okay, who's actually benefiting? Are you guys benefiting to get a? Are you guys participating in this to get rebates, or is this a real thing? Are we doing enough in the corporate space? You know, because I'll share maybe my own experiences, right? So I had two friends where they were battling, you know. I think work in a lady dynamics itself, you know, besides the human interaction, like humaning is already challenging, you know, humaning
Mhm.
and different with different people and all of that is already challenging. But in the corporate space, then you get maybe batubare, no, take the time you need. You know, there's days where man, I can't do it. I absolutely cannot wake up, but you need to wake up for work. You need to get to work. So it got to a point where these girls, one was a guy, bafisha to a point, yeah, like I'm breaking down. Now I can't do anything. I'm not functioning, you know. And work will understand to a certain level, but now you can't deliver. You know, what do we do? What do we do in such cases? What is there? Is there room for mental health, for your mental health to be taken care of in the corporate space? Like, what's our solution? Do we all need to be artists? I think we're all artists, though. Do we all need to be artists? Because yeah, corporate, yeah, capitalism, it's all about me, and the profits and all of that, and forgetting the human part of the ship that people are running, you know. So what's your take on that, like regarding a corporate space, regarding a, I don't know, did I get tax rebates for participating in such things? You know,
Yeah.
because
Yes,
I
I
think in
heard.
some other, like one of the plantains I was in, we had a shrink. Okay, please tell me if we have psychologists and psychiatrists. Please tell me if this is an okay word to use. It might be derogatory, but I guess sure because nobody has ever called me out on it. But we had like a shrinky, you know, and but usually that'd be like nurse, but like younger me, ne? Younger me, my breakdown would be because of Joel, obviously, you know. So like heartbreak would render me immobile, you know, and Kamo, I still need to show up, you know, Kamo coping mechanism king. Okay, throw yourself into being busy. Is that a healthy way actually of approaching this thing? Okay, maybe we'll get that. We'll get a shrink to answer that one. But yes, a question asked. So I feel like I'm talking to you in person now here.
So for me, I do feel like corporate does have still have like an opportunity to create a supportive environment. For me personally, I have researched actually other different companies in corporate, like people who are actually doing, very serious business, but they have a good, mental health program that they have in the company that actually does provide, support either within the company or even outside. And then they also pay for that type of, assistance to that specific, employee, because they are aware that their employees are very important people within the company. They make up the company. So if
Yeah.
this person is not, outputting their best, I'm suffering as a company. I cannot allow this person to go kaput while we're building this, company. But there are companies also who don't really take this whole thing very seriously. You have companies that will say, no, we can replace you very easily. Like
Which is true.
they don't beat around the bush. There are other ones who kind of just don't want to say it outright direct. They kind of give you those underneath, comms to say you figure it out what we're trying to say. So for me, I do feel though that corporate still has an opportunity, because mental health, I think within South Africa, it's not something that has been going on or even um spoken about so like long enough. So there's still, ways to actually encounter the things that are happening within the company specifically for employees, because
Yeah.
there are people who have worked for companies for like 15 years, and you kind of need to figure out how has this person not succumbed to some work pressure, because there's probably a process that this person is implementing, or maybe the type of work that they're doing makes it very flexible for them. Maybe let's look at that. So if
Or
companies or
you are dead
corporate,
already and you're a
or you are
robot.
dead already,
Yeah.
and you're just a robot, and that's the sad truth, that a lot of people probably in corporate are in that way, and I am doing my best to not go in that direction. This is
Jesus.
why I
You
I
have
love the
yoga.
fact that I express as much as I can. I
No,
express as
100.
much as I can.
100.
So, and as you mentioned also, disconnect yourself from the space, but be present enough to do the work that's needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah. Ne? Yeah. The system merits for every guys. But honestly, like, it would really be nice for companies to not show up for let's go for team building, and then it's all kumbaya for that day, and then the next day's profits. But we cannot control it. It is kokotayo. City, we wanna be here. But can you work under
Mm.
pressure? Uri, I perform my best under pressure.
But see, can I just interject there? I think that's another thing that we need to actually curve as a people, to say, as much as you do want the job, you need to be also asking, is this a very viable place for me? I think we are not taught to question things, because we were never questioned ourselves even growing up, in terms of everything that has been fed to us. We never questioned it. So if we don't question even the companies that we go, yes, ngiyakokota, I want the job, but I need to also ask, are you guys good for me at the end of the day also? Because
100%.
I understand this question. Someone might say, but if I cannot buy bread a Shoprite, you can't tell me that I mustn't accept the job because it will be bad for my mental health. For me, I'd say it means when you have figured out a process for you to how to manage. It
Yeah.
means you
No,
figured out a process of how to manage, because you don't want to even ask that question. So you figured out a process for yourself. So I'll leave it
no,
at that.
100. 100. I hear that. We have Titi, our newest member on the membership program. Okay, I'm just gonna read the comments there. Ore Thokozani, Thokoza Royal. I'm wondering if there are any laws that require companies to be actively involved in their staff mental health. if those laws are there, then we need to be aware of them so that we know how to navigate the workspace in the event that we are struggling mentally. 100%, 100%.
Mm.
Because I feel like there's a lot that we don't know, like even in existing in the country itself, I think I found out when I was already grown, or there's things like white papers, before something gets signed into law, we only found out about certain things when there's retrenchments happening. Horio, like, yeah, actually, maybe, yeah, we need somebody in the HR and
The law
what
space.
those
The
spaces,
law
yeah,
space.
to educate
Yeah.
us, because yeah, I feel man, capitalism will take advantage of you, because it's them are from these kids that we birth, these ones here. But anyway, uh, anyway, I wanted to ask, what, okay, from your end, right? Especially with the experiences that you have bases of the homeland, you have bases of township, you have bases of suburbia. So, with that exposure that you have, how do you think we can better navigate the space in terms of family? Because I know we joke around on socials, really, but what, hey, hey, but let's come hey, depression and all of that. So such things also, as much as it's haha and whatnot. Yeah, maybe Renalidi trauma response as black people, but I don't think that's okay. So how do you think we can better navigate it in terms of family?
Mm.
Mm,
So,
mm,
okay, I'm gonna just speak on my end because I think each family is different and each person's maybe outlook and approach is also different. But if I was being idealistic, ne, I would actually just say that maybe when you have gone through something like that as a person, there must be one member of the family that you can approach. I
ne?
feel like there should be just one individual within the family that you can approach who you are able to just divulge your
Yeah,
this aspect of yourself that is struggling to cope with just life itself.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not easy, I find, to assess that within a family, especially in a
Especially
family setting.
because village, we are very unvillaged right now, so I can't ask a Osako next door, Horio. My mother
Yeah.
is my mother, oh, the way she talks to me, I can't ask somebody who go next door to come. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm,
And I
there's
feel
a
like
lot.
that requires then outsourcing in that sense,
Yeah, but
because
just
then yeah, it's very like especially even the outsourcing. From my own experience, like the hood does not have like a good process in
yeah,
dealing with people who have mental issues.
yeah,
It really doesn't. It's more of go to that place and then when you get there they're like, oh, take this and then we'll call you back for you to engage with this individual who is the resident psychiatrist.
yeah.
However, for me, I found that how can there be one psychiatrist for an entire neighborhood
Not even a
at a
neighborhood.
small clinic?
There's
One.
go Middlelands, Kizonmark, by the police station. So there used to be a
Zone
program,
2.
yeah. Hey?
Zone 2.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, is it?
Middlelands Clinic, Zone 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I just know it's there by the police station. So this was a
Yeah.
campaign also. Yeah, I think Nelia government or through Love Life or something, where
Hmm.
they have like free counseling and all of that. But I think the one time I wanted, no, actually, I wanted to go thank the lady who was helping me, because Nikki like somebody that somebody did not show up. I ended up in the therapy session, but she wasn't there, and I couldn't get further help after that because she got into a car accident or something. So there was nobody else who could show up in that way. So, and I think the culture, yeah, our governing space, yeah, okay, we need to do this because yeah, man, it's a requirement, but there's actually no about when you
Process.
actually a need, yeah, okay, no, this is a need. Let's get
Mm.
let's train people. You also see it taking like an HIV test, for example, like at times you're like, yo, I pre-counseling, but anyway, yeah, I want to be a responsible adult. But can I ask
It's
this
like
one? If it's
multiple
not
choice questions.
if it's not too invasive, you can say no if you don't want to answer it. But I want to know, and yeah, please, guys, please don't take yeah, always do you, always do what's good for you. I have my own reasons why I don't rely on the question I'm about to ask now. So I want to know: have you been on medication for because of mental health issues? And what's your take on that, as well as the alternative healing space that you've decided to take on?
So to answer that, yes, I have. I did experience like a mental breakdown. It was years ago, though. Of course, it was during the transition time when I was retrenched for the first time in my life, and then I didn't know how to handle all of that because I had started working, and then now I'm no longer working. So there wasn't like a bridge linking the two in terms of how to deal with anything like that. So had a mental breakdown, started taking medication. I did not like the medication. It made me go numb. Like I couldn't connect with
I
my
hear it.
emotions.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I couldn't connect with my emotions. My brain was quiet because the mental attack that I was having, basically my brain was attacking itself because it was just overloaded. So I always tell someone, if I'm speaking on this, I would say it was just a computer reboot basically that happened. It was just overheating, and then a reboot, automated reboot happened. And after it happened, when I started taking medication, I was much more disconnected with myself, even more, even though mentally it was quiet. Emotionally, it went numb. I
Mm,
decided to take the course, but I didn't finish the second course because I was like, I cannot go through life not feeling. I've felt, I know how
mm,
feeling is. It's beautiful in its high and its lows. So I cannot go through life not feeling. I'm not saying that people should do what I did because I already had a plan on how to help and support myself because I've been doing
mm.
that even before the mental breakdown happened. So
Yeah.
when I stopped, I decided to go back to yoga, and
Oh,
I
lovely.
decided to write again when I was, if I'm starting to hear this, these negative voices, I would write it down. After writing it down, it'd be quiet. And then when I understood that, that's when I was like, I am going to be writing down at every moment that I get. Whether if I did have a pen and paper nearby or if it was on my phone, I am going to, put out that notepad. Whatever is going to come to mind, I'm going to write it down because that's the only way. There's just too much traffic. So it means if there's too much traffic, I need to take the traffic out and then leave
Mm,
the space up here empty. Then when I decided to go back to yoga again, it felt beautiful because like I said, I love it when yoga makes me cry because it's like, oh, welcome back. Thank you
so
for connecting again. I appreciate you being here. So it's kind of like it opened its arms again to me and be like, thank you for showing up again for yourself. I appreciate that. So when I
it feels
started
like
doing
a
that,
hug from a tall person. Hey.
mm, stop that.
Sorry, I had to put myself there. I'm gonna read Titi's comment there. Ori, I may be misguided, but I do believe that before we were violated through colonization, we had a way of healing a community. So chances of someone having a mental breakdown were very, very
Very
slim.
slim.
Our
I agree.
spirituality leaned heavily on nature. There was
Mm.
always a way to find healing for anyone struggling with anything. It's so we having to live in a traumatized state, and it's chai. So I appreciate you, lady, exploring ways for us to go through and heal. I'm absolutely loving that. I'm loving you. So welcome again to the membership club. But I'm loving what you're saying here. Because again, we go back to where we are sold our own things again, from the yoga that we're speaking about. We're okay, you felt home again when you went back to yoga, which is also another practice that probably you start your day with meditator. We greet the sun every day. When it's the full moon, we do our moon salutations. But now we're getting sold the concepts of going on hikes. We're getting sold the concepts of hugging trees. So you're very right saying that our spirituality leans heavily on nature. Our spirituality is nature. I think
Mm.
we cover it a lot, especially in the content that we do here. Hore. Like we're not forming a cult or a religion or anything. We just reconnecting ourselves back to nature. And but yeah, unfortunately now we're buying back our healing in
Yeah.
different ways. Even the things that actually were belonged to us. We didn't even need to go next door to ask this person, because I think Leonard, this whole notion, yeah, sorry, ne, halili thing, ne, but yeah, we speak about you guys. But like the 702 blacks, the disconnecting of how deep actually colonization went. We are living the effects that thing now. That who's forever angry because there's a young boy at work o busy o meet a boy that time ke ntate ko ntlong, displacing us, from our families, displacing us from the homelands where we can actually see the stars, connecting on just being looking at the stars. That is something that is healing. But what le tlo ipatala ko planetarium kwa, le tlo ipatala to go on a hike on a mountain. Even our
Mm.
natural healing places like Dikampet, with its restrictions, prohibited private property on God's river, yeah, on Asas River, on Ramazani's River. We can't go to
Mm.
certain mountains. We need to pay to go to a mountain. We need to pay to connect to ourselves, basically. So I love the
Yeah.
point that Titi Gambo made there. But my queen, I think Kopari Kwale, because you
Mhm.
and I can talk forever.
Yeah,
But
you see, I'm trying to be silent. I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. Let me just still myself here.
but thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much to those who are here as well. Like I said, it's going to be a running series. Thank you to Ugoko Tandiwe, who runs Prime Cats Creatives. It's an agency. Yeah, so she's managing all of us here and just bringing the whole concept. Yeah, sacred. I almost said sacred connections, but sacred connections we do here.
Sunday.
Sacred Sundays, which we started the winter solstice, but everything is about how mindful we need to be, reconnecting back to ourselves. And it's lovely that we're starting this conversation now, the season in ya asa. So also for those who are looking for this book that we're speaking about, it's not appearing very nicely here, but it's called Murmurs of a Yearning Heart. Very metaphorical but very relatable as well. I love the ending part of it, dealing with the validation, the insecurities, your ego, and all of that. So this is available from Prime Cat Creatives. I think I need to link everybody's things in the description box here. I'm gonna link also Queen where we find you. You've been here before, but with the pre-recording, I'm gonna link where people can find you as well. And when are you running your school, ma'am? Your yoga school? Because I cannot believe that my body can control.
It's it's coming. I need to. You saw what I posted now. It's something that I've been working on.
Not
It's
double.
just in the nerves of just sharing that whole aspect of things. But like I said, I'm doing my best to incorporate what I've understood about how I deal with things,
Yeah.
deal with life through art. So I'm incorporating that a bit more, or in the yoga aspect of things. So
And I like, I think
soon,
your
very
photography
soon.
also is more, you like taking nature stuff. Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
I used to love driving with you, even though it's wake up super early. Last comment today is from Titi again. Ore, thank you so much. Love you long time. Loving you so much. Looking forward to all that you have for us. So the next Sacred Sunday Sacred Sundays Poetry Edition, yes, that we'll be having in the mental health month, Gregorian month, mind you. Gregorian month, we're gonna hopefully have my govs, my special govs, because yeah. So I don't know from which angle we're gonna take it from, but no, she has a lot to share. I'm gonna ask her about also living in a very dark continent where like not even the sun can recharge you. So we're gonna have a very, very amazing guest. Kat was brilliant today. Very love it, love it, love it. Asemahle ore siyabulela enkosi bakhulu, enkosi gogo T. Siyabonga, siyabonga kakhulu, siyabonga everybody who is here. Thank you for the questions. Even for those who will be joining us a bit later. But Gogo, thank you, thank you, thank you for your time, for the yoga. Please go check the yoga. But yeah, we're gonna have, for those on the membership program, we're gonna have the full session. But she's running
Yeah, we'll
through
talk about
everything.
the other ones, ne? Because I remember that we had an agreement. So we're going to talk about the other ones.
Oh, the ones that
Uh,
kolotang di member tsa rona. Okay, ma'am.
yes, those ones.
But yes, take care of your mental health. But yeah, please be kind to yourself, kind to others. We see, yeah, today actually, yeah,
Just to
today was.
remind you, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to remind you. You wanted to ask something about my teacher.
Oh, township teachers, yes. So yeah, so with most of us, or speaking for myself, like I've only seen that thing where you have like a positive a positive role model in a teacher. So we give thanks for the teachers. I know they don't get shout outs a lot. So we give thanks for the teachers that actually invest in the babies, exposing them to poetry, who knew that words were quite healing. And I know I owe an episode where we're gonna go that song, yeah, words. But yeah, so shout out to the teachers, that are investing in the kids. I can only imagine how challenging the township space is in terms of school. Yeah, child generation, and I feel we lack so much. The people who didn't go to township schools, yeah, nah, I was so shocked to discover how real life actually is. So I feel if you go to a township school, at least you're exposed to real life early. You don't have to have this Yo, kanti, hey, abelungu, awuJessica, kanti nikanje, nabomkhulu benu. But thank you so much to those who are here, who are still here. We will connect again. What's our next episode? We don't have an episode tomorrow. I think Sunday should be our next episode. It's going to be a quick one, probably with Gogo T. If not, we will meet with my gobs, Mkulu She, Mkulu Shi, Mkulu Mantisi, next week. Yeah, she's busy doing very important things. She's with a big
I love
auntie.
her. I love her
We
a
love
lot.
her.
I
We really,
honestly
really
do.
love her. But yes, so for that session, please do come. Please be prepared to cry as well. She makes us cry. She does make us cry. But Uncle Ma'at, happy today. African peace. Please be kind to yourselves, kind to others, kind to your family.
Yes.
Hold space if you can hold space, even if you're just listening to anybody. But let's just be kind, especially to our kings, Shem, King. But we're not kind to the gents. The gents are suffering mentally. So let's be
Dude.
kind to the gents as well.
I'm gonna
Let's
come
be
back on that like another day because I
no,
have I
Marcos.
have things to say on that one. Yay.
Marcos. And funny, actually, it's the gents at the plantain there that used to come to you a lot with, oh, I need to talk to you, Kat. But yes, let's close, Queen. Thank you so much. Please check out the yoga. Members, you'll have the 30 minutes, the 30-minute session. And then, please like, please subscribe, please watch the ads. Please, ask questions. Find me on all socials if you need help with certain things. We have plugs. We have alternative medicine. We have alternative things to do. We have everything. We have everything here. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys, the energies that you're bringing. Like my other mentor, Tsegos Kharil Fenzo Hore, revibrator, freaking high here. The people that are here, high vibrational blind. But yes, peace, love, and happiness. Khotso khutso khanya lesedi makhosa makhulu makhosa mahle. Thokozani.
Namaste, mama.
Namaste, namaskar.